collective agency on Monday.
Welcome.
It's been really great. I quit my job in Brooklyn, New York 2 years ago to work on my own projects and do my own thing and not work for anyone else. And that involves working in my bedroom a lot, and it's been really great to be here instead of my bedroom. And the project we've been working on is ecological sanitation, and how do we take care of our shit and our piss better in a way that's not polluting the groundwater, the soil, and leaving us with a weird problem where right now we're putting shit and piss onto the fields for fertilizers, but it's being mixed with industrial waste. So we're not really sure how much pharmaceuticals and other contaminants we're putting on the land. So one of the things that comes up is like, okay, well, we should do composting toilets. Oh, we should do all these other technologies. But a lot of that work was done in the 70s, and a few things got legalized, and there's some a lot of bad publicity happened. If you talk to your parents about like composting toilets, they'll be like, yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard some bad stories about it. So what we've decided to work on is regulatory reform, but with regulatory reform moves kind of slowly. So we've been working on portable toilets for festivals because that's kind of fun and simple and temporary, and you're not asking anyone to remodel their bathroom, which is not something you do on a whim. So what has come up is that people need to know more about composting toilets, but you need another way besides the festival. So we've been approaching emergency sanitation under the idea that if there's earthquakes, everything's up in the air and people are more open to change. So we worked with PNCA this fall teaching a graduate course on sanitation and hygiene and what kind of technologies can be designed and to bring it to people. So we decided to what came out of the course was, let's make a handbook on, shit, there's been an earthquake, where are you gonna poop? So some of the existing books on this are like the Humanure Handbook, which is about composting toilets, and it's self-published by Joseph Jenkins, who's really smart. But it's like 140 pages, and there's not that many illustrations, and it's a bit wordy for some people's taste. And then the other document existing is called like the Soils Guide to Ecological Sanitation. They're a nonprofit working in Haiti, implementing humanure composting. It's really great, but it's also 144 pages, which is like just as long. And there's not a lot of illustrations. So we decided to work, I do illustration, Matthew does a lot of research and writing and graphic design. So we decided to get together and make this 18-page handout. And it's been really hard getting it to 18 pages, but we're pretty close. And I think the thing we're struggling with now is the fact that emergency sanitation appeals to a really broad range of audiences. So we're really not sure our publishing avenues. Right now we have an art show at the Center for Disease Control on March 20th, so this handout will be there, but it'll just be like a self-published one that we put out. What we're looking for is how do we actually reach our target audiences, which, if you know anything about emergency sanitation, you have these weird crowds where it's, people who want to do the right thing, who are interested in composting and want to learn more. And then there's Mormons and disaster preparedness people who want to be prepared for the apocalypse. And then you have nonprofits who are working abroad who need to convey without language, your pee needs to go in an area the size of your shadow. So I've worked on making the illustrations really concise so they read without language, but those are just three very different audiences to be working at. So, and there's also the emergency preparedness crowd in Portland is really interesting, and we'll be doing some events there, but I'd be interested in hearing your guys' feedback, as I work here now every day, on kind of avenues for publishing. We've thought a little bit about maybe a Kickstarter, since it is an end product that's very tangible. But there's so many other routes as well. We've been working with a group in Switzerland called Save Us, which helps startups like ourselves working on sanitation and water issues. So yeah, that's what we're up to.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I don't have the handout here. We printed it, and I don't want to use up more paper than I already have.
Just the first thing I thought, one of the Kickstarter campaigns is by this author Richard Stevens, who's been doing conflicts, but part of the appeal is that he's going to do a DRM region-free through the new Apple interactive iBook.
Okay.
And so it's kind of one of the first open source
iBooks?
Yeah.
Weird.
Right. and they finally have just come out with a new software program that will let you strip the DRM um, from Apple or from the iBooks and let you use them on other platforms.
Okay.
Right? So I'm just thinking with an 18-page illustrated book.